Hey, this is Chris from Protect Young Eyes, and it's this week's tech news and trends for March 27th, 2024. This is where we go out and we share this news in a couple of different places here on YouTube, which I want you to subscribe. And then we also share it about every 3 weeks in what we call the download newsletter. We also share it in our social stories, but this is the first spot, so you want to stay here. All right. Well, just in time for this, I just received a notification about an article, a little bit of a clickbaity title. It was from the LA Times, and it talked about Gen Alpha, right? Those that were born between 2010 and 2024, and refers to them as being feral, illiterate, and doomed, right? Wow. But as you get into it more, it talks about the things that they're experiencing, about how many teachers are struggling with kids who are addicted to screens. And it talks about really the three Ps, which I think this is interesting to think about: the pads, the pandemic, and the parents, right? iPad kids, where you go restaurant to restaurant, everywhere you go, it's kids on iPads, right? That's our fault. It's soft and permissive parenting, and we're often addicted too, but also the pandemic, where during the critical years of kindergarten, first and second grade, they were learning phonics through a Chromebook and it just didn't work. Now, regardless of who you blame, it's the kids who are struggling. And so we need to step in. Teachers are quitting, right? We need to step in and do more as parents because 10 years ago, and it's still true today, most of the best things for kids are analog. They're still analog. Next thing I want to talk about is Disney Plus just updated its logo. It looks a little bit more like Hulu, a little more green. That's not really that important, but it's a reminder to us that Disney does add new content all the time, and it does have mature and R-rated content. It's partnered in other countries, like in Canada with Stars, which has a lot of mature content. So get those parental controls right. Disney does have parental controls. We have a step-by-step guide that you can tap on down in the description, or you can also visit protectyoungeyes.com and find it there. Virginia high school teacher Joe Clement, he monitors all the text messages that his kids are receiving, his high school students. He's asking them about them, how many they're getting, and the overwhelming number of text messages that kids are receiving are from their parents. He's reporting on the fact that the school, yes, they have a policy and they tell kids to keep devices away, but when their Apple Watch is buzzing all the time, it's almost always parents, that they're the contributors to the problem, noting that there are the frequent interruptions in his class. And so his simple request is, moms and dads, please stop texting your kids. It's like this steady stream of consciousness from parents all day about test scores and forms and dinner preferences. And you know what? They're actually better without our constant interruptions. It teaches them how to regulate their day. And so let's stop texting them. Next, I know a lot of you have heard about the TikTok ban. It's been waiting there in the US Senate. It passed the House. One thing that people might have missed with this bill is that it is broad enough that popular apps like CapCut, Temu, Lemon 8, right? These are all under the bill where they could be prohibited. Now, we're unsure what the US Senate is going to do. Like a lot of tech-driven policy right now, it starts strong and gets a lot of attention, and then it grinds to a halt. And the same thing has happened here. We'll wait to see what happens. I'm happy to report that John Haidt's anticipated book, The Anxious Generation, released this week, yesterday, Tuesday, March 26th, Free the Anxious Generation. And in this book, John lays out 4 norms. 3 of them are things we've been saying for a long time, so I'm so glad they're getting a lot of attention. Number 1, no smartphones before high school. Get them into high school. Transition into their freshman year as relationally as possible. Number 2, no social media until age 16, recognizing the unique developmental stage that kids are in, not to be tainted by algorithms, right? Delay is the way. We know it. It's true. Number 3, phone-free schools, bell to bell. Remove them. Get them out of the educational process. Get rid of distraction and harm. No Apple Watches, no AirPods. Get these out. Because unlike our fears, what they're telling us, our children are not safer during the day with a device, but they are smarter. Now, we've got a ton of resources. If you go to protectyoungeyes.com to search phone-free schools, you'll find posts and resources and research and scripts that you can use with parents, all kinds of things. And then number 4, bring back the play-based childhood, skin knees and stubbed toes. And you can visit anxiousgeneration.com for more. We don't get anything from promoting this book. We've been happy to work alongside John and his team, including Zach, during this campaign, because we just know that society is better if this book is successful. So we're happy to support it. And then finally, many of you know that In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis approved HB3, which is now the strictest social media bill in the US, but it also does something really important with age verification. But number one, with social media, it says that nobody under age 14 can have an account, and it doesn't even grandfather in existing accounts. If you are under 14 and you have one, the platforms have to delete. And if you're age 14 to 15, you require parental consent, right? And age verification wise, like other states, Texas and Louisiana, websites that have a third of their content as being pornographic must have an age gate. But the Florida bill also requires that sites provide an anonymous verification method, which is good. These do exist so that you don't always have to use an ID. Something zero knowledge proof is an example of that. Now, here's what's going to happen. The Free Speech Coalition is going to take this bill to court. They're going to argue that the First Amendment protects those who want to see pornography, and they're right. We don't have to like it, but actually pornography is constitutionally protected speech. And what we need to get from the Supreme Court is updated guidance on whether or not an age gate around constitutionally protected speech, a digital age gate, is the minimal restrictive way to prevent harm to children. We need a new opinion about that. The other thing that's going to happen is tech lobby groups like NetChoice and others, who I'm always working against when it comes to state level legislation, they're going to take the social media part of this bill to court. They're going to say that teens have a constitutional First Amendment right to social media speech, which may be true, but did our founding fathers intend for that speech to be housed inside of algorithms and digital places that harm children? Again, we need the Supreme Court to opine on that. So friends, there you go. The Florida law goes into effect January 1st, 2025. That is the news. Come back with any questions. Visit us at protectyoungeyes.com. We'll see you next week.